All right, guys, get ready for another great episode. Today I bring on Chris Niles. Chris Niles was injured in a tree cutting accident that left him paralyzed. Um, as you'll find out in this story, he tells it in this episode. He was pushed to a point where most people have not ever had to experience and may never have to experience. It's stories like these that I like to bring to you guys because there's nothing like people being put in hard situations and or trauma, pushing through and hearing about the lessons they learn and the way they tick. I had the pleasure of meeting Chris because he just rolled into our jiu-jitsu gym to check it out and see what was going on. And after just having a short conversation, I could tell that this was a very different individual. His will to get the most out of every day is remarkable. And I just knew having a conversation with him on the show would be well worth it. And it would be a treat for both me and you guys to learn, to dig deep and see how much appreciation we should really have for life. I'll leave the surprises in the episode, but just enjoy and take in how much this man is able to do on a daily basis compared to most people. It's unrealistic. Enjoy.
They try to drown me, I can swim upstream so profoundly. I can stay calm in a dire situation. I'm at it every day, no time for a vacation. And I smell blood in the water. Everything I do, yeah, I do it for my daughters. Now I'm gonna shut your lips. It's time for a brand new episode of what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, said it's time for a brand new episode of Talking Jit.
But dude, I've been super excited to talk to you.
I know,
Um,
me too. I actually was too. I am. I was looking forward to it.
I'll probably give it away in the intro, but for everyone listening, I just randomly met you. You literally just rolled into our gym, like literally.
Right.
And professor said, "Hey, how can I help you?" And you're like, "I'm just checking it out." And I was like, "Damn, that's super cool, dude. You came in, you had a really good vibe, and it just seemed like I don't know someone who would just do that on their own and just sit there and chill and watch what's going on a jiu-jitsu mat. You got to have some sort of interest in it, or some sort
Yeah.
of and how small of a world when my professor said his professor was kind of rivals with your lineage.
Right. Right. I knew that was coming.
What are the chances?
All those guys know each other. All those top guys know each other.
Did you ever reach out to him and ask if he knew about Rodrigo or anything?
No, I didn't do that yet. I've been wanting to do that. It's been on my mind. I just got a little busy when I got back from
Yeah,
down there.
it's always fun catching up, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for you, dude, for years I've been coming down there, and I go get my hair cut next door over there every time I come down. This guy over there
Oh, is that
cut.
where you're coming from?
Yeah. What's that?
Is that where you were coming from? You were coming from the
Yeah. The
shop?
barber shop. Yeah, the barber shop.
I'm like, you're either getting coffee or you're just like hanging out in that area, which is weird. So
Right.
I'm in the back.
No, there's a guy down there that's been cutting my hair for years since I've been down there. He does such a good job. Gives me a good fade. And then I stayed in Largo before though. Like
Okay.
it's about 2 years ago I stayed in Largo, but I usually always stay in Clearwater when I'm down there. And I just started found that barber shop there. But I've went by your gym all the time. Like for probably the past 4 years,
Well,
I've
dude,
been going down there.
I'm glad you finally came in.
I know. Every time I'm getting ready to get in the car, and I'm like, I gotta go in there and just say hi to those guys. I gotta just go in there and just talk a little shop with them about everything. And I
It's
never did it. So
it's another if you believe in fate, another sign because we just recently started doing like the noon classes and stuff. So like had you done that around that time back in the day, like there wasn't really much going on until about 4 o'clock.
right,
Maybe like three at the earliest on that same day. So you kind of pick the right year and the right time to roll in there and say what's up.
right.
Um, I watched your documentary you sent me, and
Oh, cool.
that was really nicely done, man. And like, I'd love for you to kind of walk us through or talk about what happened. Um,
Yeah,
but that documentary, before we get into it, was just like super well done. I really respect how this accident. I don't know. And correct me if I'm wrong, but has it made you a stronger person? Do you think?
yeah. I think it. Yeah, no doubt. Definitely made me. I mean, I was always kind of like strong. I was always strong-willed, I
Hmm.
guess. Always, um, just type of person that just get figures out a way and get shit done. That's it. You know what I mean? I always figure out a way. But I don't know. It's made me definitely. It made me. That's why I tell people that appreciate what you have right now. Even you guys being able to go in there and roll and train like you do.
Hmm.
Appreciate that, man. And even like, there's so many times when you're training in that world, it's like you get busy, life gets in the way, and you're like, I'm too busy, I can't do it. Like, make the time for it, squeeze an hour in. You know what I mean? 45 minutes.
I
But
just stay away. I'm addicted. But
dude, I miss it. I miss it so much. You have no idea. Like, I just got busy with other things in life, and I just put it on the back burner. I had a good run with it for a minute. I learned so much, and I got in great shape. Had a lot of great experiences with it, and then I just, I got busy with other things in life and shelved it. And then when something like this happens, then I can still get down on the ground, and I can still work a lot of chokes, and I can move around pretty good. But obviously, you don't have your core, you don't have your legs. That's half jujitsu, if not, you know, three quarters of it.
yeah,
And but I don't know. It's made me. I don't know. One of my guys I always trained with always said to me, even after my accident, he's like a great warrior, works with the tools you got. That's it.
that and I love that. I love that. That's a really cool saying. And uh I've already got like a good handful of guys in the gym who know that we're doing this, and I've told them about you,
That's
and
cool.
they all said, "Man, like next time he's down, tell him to bring a gi. I'd love to roll with them and hang out and get him on the mats." And
Yeah, next year I told you I'll definitely bring my gear next year. I wish I had it with me this year,
they all know you're
but
coming. They'll be
yeah, that's cool. Just I don't need no one. I don't need nobody balling me up and twisting me up though. All right, everybody got to behave.
like, "Oh, you can." um. So, so if you don't mind, let everyone know what happened. And
Yeah, sure. I can just say I was in a. So it was 2011. It was March 2011. I was in a tree cutting accident. I was actually, I was training about 2000, probably 9, 10 into 2011, and then after I competed at the Arnold Classic. That was my first tournament, and
okay,
then after the Arnold, I just kind of shelved it all for a while. It was right around the time I was getting my blue belt, and and I just shelved it and was building a house for we were building a new home. I have two boys. They're in their 20s now, but back, then they were young kids. So we were building a new house. We built one, and then we turned around and flipped it and sold it, and we built another one, and we just got it done. I worked in a jail most of my life too. So at the time, I was just working crazy hours, and I was on a schedule just to get the house done, get everything remodeled, and I just shelved jujitsu, and then one morning I took the kids to school, and then went home. I was like a zombie though, dude. I was working like crazy hours,
hmm,
up all night working at home, and just went out in the backyard, grabbed my chainsaw, cut it. I was cutting this tree down. It was like this, like they logged that property, so it was like a damaged, twisted tree, and I cut it. I approached it wrong, and I was like half asleep when I did it, and as soon as I started cutting it, it just cracked and started coming down on me, and I think I missed one of the parts, missed me, but then I turned around and ran. I just and that's where I screwed up. I dropped the saw and just ran, and it followed right in line with me, and it hit me right in the back. Hit me in the back like someone pushed me down, broke my back instantly, and fell down. And a tree fell down beside me, and then that was it. Like I couldn't move. I couldn't feel anything from about my sternum down.
were you
And
tree?
what's that?
Were you pinned underneath the tree?
No, no. Well, I think it was like laying on my legs, if I remember. I was like on my right side a little bit, and I think part of the tree was laying on my legs, if I remember
Mm.
correctly. But yeah, so that's how it happened. It was like out of nowhere, blur so quick. And next thing you know, I was just, I mean, it was cold that morning too. It was about 40 degrees. I mean,
Jeez.
I was just, yeah, I was stuck there for 4 hours. And we live out in the woods and out in the country, and there's not too many close neighbors. And there's one guy that's kind of, yeah, they're still a ways. They're about 75 yards away. But so I laid there for 4 hours, man. Just tried to stay warm. I was in and out, passed out a few times, come back. It was a pretty, yeah, that was an experience, man.
So
Called
did you like know you were paralyzed yet, or
I didn't know exactly to what extent. I knew it was bad though. When
yeah?
I couldn't move anything, and I couldn't move my legs, couldn't move anything. I knew, and I knew at that point like this isn't going to get fixed. I knew that. I was like, this is bad. You know, I broke a couple ribs the way it hit me. It broke a couple ribs, and it burst fractured my T6 vertebrae. A piece of bone, a sliver of bone, sliced my spinal cord 50%, and that's it. It just killed everything from like sternum down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and at that point, I'm just like, I'm just going to survive. That's it. I'm just going to survive until someone finds me, and I'll get through this. That was my attitude from the beginning. I'll figure it out. Figure it out. I'll be all right. I'll get out of this. I'm different. I'm different. I'm going to get out of this, you know.
I was gonna ask
But
you. Your,
what's that?
I said I was gonna ask you what's going through your head as you're laying there.
Oh my God, it was scary. Like after that, I would go from back and forth. Like, all right, I'm gonna get through this. I'll be fine. Let me chill out, and then I'd panic a little bit. Then I'd call for help for a little bit. I was calling for help like just every like few seconds. I'd just say help, help. And I just calling, and I would do it for a couple minutes, like consistently, because I knew that neighbor would be out in the back property sometimes. I'm like, I just got to keep that going, that rhythm going. But I would say it to the point where I was like, my lips were numb, and I was like ready to pass out, honest to God. And then I was just out of it. Then I'd come back, I'd wake up, and then I'd be like, all right, let me just. And yeah, it was so cold. I put my arms inside my coat. I was just like shaking out of my skin nonstop. It was so cold. I had on like this sweater, my work sweater from the jail, and then I didn't think I was going to make it. I was getting nervous. So I wrote a message in the dirt to my kids. I
Really?
was like, yeah, I was laying on like this dirt hill, and it was just all like real soft dirt, like mud. You could write right in it, and I, I put I love them and something. I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm like, oh my gosh, but yeah, that was 4 hours, and then I was married at the time, and my ex, she knew there was something wrong. She called my stepfather, and she said, "You better get down there." I hadn't heard from him all day, and I just got a feeling something's wrong. And he ended up coming down. I heard him coming up the driveway, and we have a big house. So he went through the house, he was in there probably like 5, 10 minutes looking around for me, and then he come out the back door, and I was like, "I'm back here." And that's when everything started. Life flight, helicopters, fire
How,
departments, police.
how far from the house were you?
Probably about 50 yards
Okay.
from the house in the woods, edge of the woods. Yeah. So,
So you start making noise so he can come get or come find you.
yep. As soon as I heard him come out the back door and he called my name, I said, "I'm back here." He couldn't even see where I was. I said, "I'm back here by the weeds."
Wow.
And then he come running out, and luckily, that's it. And they come scoop me up. I remember them cutting my clothes off me. God, it was so cold. They stuffed me in the back of the helicopter for life flight, and that's it. Headed to rehab. I had major surgery the next day, and then I did 17 days in a hospital, and then they shipped me to a rehab. I did 30 days in rehab. I was like a fireball, dude. I wanted out of there. Like I wanted home. So I made it home like 45 days post injury.
And what was like? So you make it out of there, but what do they do the whole time you're in there? Are they like are they making you do any rehab? Are they just making sure your vitals are good, or like what's the whole
Well,
checking for?
this the first 17 days was just stabilizing your your health at the hospital. And I was sick. Those 17 days were rough. I mean, I was on morphine drips. I was so sick at times. It was misery coming off of the injury, coming after the surgery. You know what I mean? Just getting
Right.
stable. But then I was getting to the point where I got stable about 17 days. I was ready. They know. They're like, he's ready. He's ready to go. And they just, now rehab's different. I mean, I went from how I was pretty athletic and, look how we trained jiu-jitsu, look how everything I do. I mean, I still was playing full contact football at that point too. So, a lot of these things I'm learning rehab, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm doing these curls with these, little dumbbells and this and that. I got to but your body's like fragile at that point. So I was kind of afraid to do it. I'm like really nervous if I turn the wrong way or do something like I'm going to break something else.
Yeah.
So I went at their pace in the beginning, and then I don't know, I just kind of smashed that, got through it, learned how to take care of myself, how to transfer, and I was just wanted to go home. That's really it. I wanted to get home. Just wanted to get home, wanted to see my kids. So that's how that began, and that was 2011, dude, March 2011, and 13 years post injury right now. But
13 years.
yeah,
Dude, obviously it's a huge change of lifestyle and a very challenging change of lifestyle to go through. I actually have a really good buddy that almost similar, like very able body, athletic, like to push himself. He was like a grease monkey. He bought a bike. He was riding his crotch rocket on the interstate, and the lady came over 4 lanes of traffic and hit him. And I kind of watched a similar thing. He was in the hospital. He was actually like in a coma. When I went to go visit him, his face was like they had to reconstruct a lot of it. It was,
oh god, yeah,
but kind of a similar mentality. When he woke up, where a lot of people I think would be like sad, where
right,
like man, like paralyzed, or oh man, my whole life is gone. It was
right,
almost similar to you, or how you seem. Happy to be alive, counting his blessings, and he's like, I'm just glad I'm alive. And
right.
that like right there, like I think there's a level of trauma that you go through that makes you appreciate life even more, you
You
know.
do, yeah,
And like you take things for granted until you're like really in that dark space of like, man, I would take anything back, you know. And I,
right,
what I'm guessing, I don't
yeah, yeah,
is were you in like similar areas? Like, I mean, were you
yeah. You
able to be back and breathing and uh trying to get to back as normal as you want and adapting, or were you, were there dark moments and stuff you had to push through?
Yeah, you do have your moments like that. Yeah, I mean, we're human. You're gonna have them.
Right.
But and I had more of those in the beginning. I'm just in the beginning. You know what? I've always been like we talked in the beginning. I've always been positive mindset. I always figure out a way to get shit done, one way or another. No matter what we got going on, I'm always glasses half full. We figure it out. We always figure it out. But that being said, when you still go through something like this, there's times when you're just down. You're like, why? This is, because everything I do, it takes twice as long. Everything's hard for me now. This is hard. You know, I can't just get up in the morning and go, and walk out of the room and go to the bathroom and do this or go out. And it's just everything is a process and how you have to live and how you have to take care of yourself daily. And it takes its toll on you in the beginning. And I had someone tell me in rehab in the beginning, a kid that he was in a wheelchair, he was a counselor down there, and and I never forget, he would come up to me and he'd tell me, he always said, you're going to live a good life. You're going to be happy someday. And I used to look at him like he was crazy. This is right when I got hurt. I was positive and I was doing everything I have to do, but it was like a monkey on my back all the time. I'm like, I'm never going to fully accept this. I was always like attitude, like I'm going to get out of it. You just got to try hard to get out of it, but you really, you can't. Like a lot of people think you can work hard, you can rehab, you can get in great shape, but your body healing itself when you go through something like it doesn't happen when that spinal cord's damaged. It's just, and I know technology's shifting forward and there's going to be things coming in the future, I'm sure, but as of when I got hurt 13 years ago, we did some stem cells and other things, but you just, this is what it is. You got to accept it. So that being said, as time went on a little bit, you learn to live with it more. You appreciate everything a lot more in your life. You do. I mean, it made me. I've done a lot of great things since my accident. I do a lot of traveling. I traveled out of country 4 times, even though I was getting medical treatment for this. My family, we stayed in Panama City, Panama. We've had some great experiences, met people all over the world. It's led me into some networking companies that I was traveling all across the United States. I was doing some trainings and speaking for different groups. I'd have never done anything like that. I was like a blue collar grunt in a jail. That's it. That was the stretch of my life. And if I didn't have this accident, I wouldn't be in Florida for a month in the winter. You know what I mean? I'd be working. I'd be in my 25th year down there, and I wouldn't have had much experience. So
Okay.
it just brought more experience to my life too.
According to my research. According to my research, you do more in a wheelchair than a lot of people do in their normal life.
I get I get that because I like to work. I do like to work, and I don't know. It's the secret, bro. It's the secret. It's the hack for this chair. It's the hack when you're sitting down like this. If you just gotta stay busy. You do. If you sit around and you sit around. What happens? You sit around. You eat too much. You get a little bigger, and you don't want to do anything. The less you move, you end up depressed. It's just
my my professor said, I said, "Hey, I'm going to interview that guy that came in here." He's like, "Oh, really?" And I said, "Yeah, I've been connecting with him. You got any questions for him?" And he's like, "Ask him what he does because he's still pretty jacked."
that's funny.
I
I
was, I was like, "I got you, bro."
that's funny. I have like a funny workout routine too. What I do, I get up in the morning, and because my bed's soft, I use my bed as, it's like being on a mat. Even a jujitsu mat's a little more firm than the bed, but I do sets of 100 push-ups. I have dumbbells under my bed. I slide them out, do curls, pound out some curls. I do dips like that. I love the bike. When I'm down there in Florida, dude, I put the miles on. I do 15 miles a day when I'm down there. And that's where that comes when I'm down there. I get in good shape when I'm down there. Trim,
Is
lose
that
weight in my stomach.
you use with your hands? You pedal with your hands?
Yeah, it's all hands. Yep. It's
So,
a
so my
yeah.
dad worked for a place called Custom Mobility. It's
Hmm.
a wheelchair company. Like they build wheelchairs, wheelchair access, wheelchair accessible vans, and stuff like that. So I've seen like growing up, I've seen like a lot of the technology for handicap, and
Right.
those bikes are fun, even if you're not handicapped. But like those things are just like I almost prefer a hand crank bike, dude.
Yeah, it's good upper body workout.
Hell yeah. And it's just like you're kind of just paddling and cruising with your hands, and you're like low to the ground, and
Right.
I don't know. There's just something about those chairs. I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I have one of those too. Those are I have a racing one like that I lay down, and I've done like 6 marathons in my life. And
Dude,
I actually did one race. It was an 80-mile ride for cancer. I did that up in Cleveland. It took me like 8 hours to do it, 8 or 9 hours. It rained the whole time too. It was a
oh,
freaking night. It was a freaking nightmare. But
probably a story.
yeah, it was pretty. I did it with a buddy of mine. He's a state cop. He was my like assistant rider. It was insane. I think maybe it was six. I think it was 60 miles. But it took me 8 hours, and it rained the whole time. We were soaked. But we
It
raised a bunch of money for cancer.
shit. It's
Yeah,
it's amazing because like I mean you just put off the vibe. I'm like, oh, this guy's he's just a happy individual, or he's just on his own page. He's working. You know what I mean? Um, I can kind of see that in people like when they've got like a drive to them.
right.
And I mean doing marathons like it seems like you're still filling your glass. And
I don't even know where I'm heading next though. But I had a few years where I kind of settled and was just kind of like content. I'm kind of like I don't know. I'm driven definitely. My work keeps me pretty. My work, I stay a little busy right now. I do real estate up here and got involved with that a few years ago. That's definitely been a positive thing in my life. I really enjoy it, and it's tricky sometimes showing homes and setting. I have a little portable ramp to get in and out of the house sometimes, but it works. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what I want to do. I still want to push myself to do something else, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm in that funk. Real estate's something I've thought about several times too. It just seems like there's so many options to make money, and you just kind of have to be, I don't want to say a hunter, but like a grinder. And I
Yeah, you got
enjoy
to have you got to go out and build relationships, and that's
it.
what we do. I mean, that's like just me walking in the gym to say hi to you guys. That's what it's all about. That's how you make shit happen in life like that. You just step outside that comfort zone and do something that, you have that thing in your head. Should I go in there and say hi to those guys? I mean, it's the same thing with that. It's just opening your mouth and it's doing it. Just do it. Should I go in there and do that? Yeah, go in there and do that. Go meet those guys. And I mean, that's how it's always like. I made a lot of great contacts, like I said, throughout the years with a lot of companies I started with networking with, and I just really grew a lot from those. Grew a lot in so
from
many ways.
from
You know
from
what I mean?
from networking.
Yeah, yeah.
How does like
hmm
how does like a networking? How does this work? What is this? Like if you
Um,
to explain the event, what is that like?
well, there was a company they did. There was a company I got involved with years ago. They did natural gas and electricity, and basically go out and just teach people how to do the business and grow teams and groups throughout different states. And I ended up having hundreds and hundreds of people underneath me that were part of my group, and they were out gathering hundreds, and I had like thousands and thousands of customers in my network, and that's it. It's really just leadership. It's out. You tell people your story. That's really what I had going for me. Is I just would show up to these events and start them off just telling a little bit about myself, a little bit about my story, my life, my kids, my accident, how I found this company, and here's what we do. We go out and help people, save on natural gas and electricity, and we help other people. We help a few save a little bit and help others do the same, and it just turned into this big snowball. And I just met so many business people throughout the country and led me in other opportunities. And and you start to meet so many people like in that realm that are entrepreneurial and hungry to make money. And it just snowballs into so much more comes out of it. I made so many great friendships and relationships with just so many amazing people.
That's
And I know it's so cool. That's why it was the best. I said it was the best experience, some of the best experiences I've ever had in life is
that
like going to college.
that's one thing I really enjoy about our gym is like for whatever reason, that gym just has a whole bunch of different people who are successful in like a lot of different realms.
Right.
Talk to people, I'm like, yeah, I know NFL players. How? Oh, my gym. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I know
Right.
and our business owners. How? From my gym. I know,
Right.
like I know strength and conditioning coaches for college teams. Where? Oh, I met them at my gym. They're like, they think like I'm like bullshitting or something, but
Right. Right.
I think it's just like, I think the common denominator is just like jujitsu with the mindset you kind of have to enjoy it. You just meet people who like to push themselves and
Right.
to chase like challenges. Uh,
Yeah.
are you like circling back to something you said earlier with about the technology and stuff? Or have you like looked into Neuralink or anything like that? How do you?
I've seen some of those articles.
Yeah, is
You
that like
mean like what?
for or that you look at or?
I don't know. I maybe event when I first got hurt, I was chasing stuff like that. I actually went and got I went four separate times and got four stem cell transplants. I went to Panama City, Panama. There was a clinic down there owned by an American doctor that was able to inject stem cells, and uh, it's something they weren't doing in the U.S. They were doing it. They had to go to other countries to do it. So the doctor was from Texas. I can't recall his name, but
Oh, is it Ways to Well?
no, that wasn't it.
Wasn't that
Can't
guy?
remember. No,
It
but I'd have
that's
to think.
like a therapy. I guess that's the right way to put it. That's like it's going to be very tough to grow because if you think about it, they're competing with a pharmaceutical company, and we can all see how much power the pharmaceutical companies have. You know,
Right, right,
so like it's because I kind of look into that because I have a jacked up neck. I've got like herniated discs and stuff. Um,
right.
I've heard really good things about stem cells, but there is a clinic and the guy's in Texas and he's like trying to expand, but as like I said, it's like an upward stream type of thing.
Right.
I wonder if they're like aligned with each other.
Oh, It could be. There's all kind of different clinics and institutions that offered that. At the time, that was the one I went to down there, and I went through the procedure. I mean, I had to live there for a month each time when I went there, and it wasn't cheap to stay down there and go through all that therapy. And I didn't get really nothing out of it though. I'll be honest. Like, yeah, I mean, they put some videos on you, and maybe some things were happening while I was getting it. Maybe I was just so quick out of my injury, and I don't know. There may be some videos on YouTube where they, I mean, I was maybe making my toes spasm at some point. I don't know. It was happening. I don't know what was going on, but it wasn't nothing that was worthwhile. And but and I went down for like four separate transplant procedures and did it, and then I was just trying anything. I was like, I'm gonna get out of this. I'm different. I'm gonna get out of this. I'm gonna get out of this. And then after that fourth time, I came home. I was tired. I'm like, I just want to live. At this point, I do. I just want to live, get
Mm.
back into my life, and I'm gonna. It is what it is, man. I'm like, I'm ready to roll. I just want to figure shit out, and you figure out stuff more and more as time goes on. Like, I'm at a point now where I got everything tightened up good. Like, I can do whatever I want. I mean, I kayak, I bike. I mean, I have a side by side. I loved off road. I pull myself up in that thing and just take off. And
Is that
I'm
the
a
sent me where you're in that car with your beverage?
oh yeah, right, yeah.
That that
I do that, right. And I mean, I still
like
hunt,
dude
I
really
fish.
mudding right now.
What
This dude
I was
just
out mudding,
go mudding.
right.
That's
I,
cool.
I, cause I still do what I want. Like I said, I like to hunt still. I like to fish. I mean, I have that beach chair. I go out on the beach. I spend a month in Florida every year. Dude, I'm living. I'm happy. I'd have never been able to do a lot of this stuff if I didn't have the turn in my life like I did. But
So cool, man, because like some people with lesser injuries than yours, they're actually most people. I'm gonna say like I'm gonna go crazy here. I'm gonna say like 95% of people they want that magic pill. They want that magic remedy for whatever consistent ailments they have.
and
Whether
there's none, and there's none. You
there's
know that.
there's none, but they like let themselves get convinced. Like, oh, you know what? Surgery is gonna do it. Uh,
Nope.
pills are gonna do it. The to
Right.
the honest truth, and I'm just speaking from my injury with my neck. The only thing that really helps is like hard work. Like, and I'm not meaning like hard work like going out with a
Right.
jet. That probably hurt my neck more, but like therapy. Like, I research a lot about like what muscles are in your neck and what inflammation does to you, what causes inflammation, what can help
Right.
keep it away. And I just try to balance um, like almost like a physical therapy on my neck, a good diet, and good habit. And I kind of keep in mind like things that agitate my neck or things that agitate my injuries, and like stay away from them as little as possible. But I don't. People get like this, like you said, everyone thinks that there's like a magic pill or magic remedy that's going to make them feel better, and I hope that technology comes one day, but
Right.
that doesn't seem like a very big incentive. There's such a huge industry that makes money off of it not being there.
Right. I'm not. Now, look, there's therapies out there. There's some pills, potions, lotions. I mean, I have a medical device I use for blood flow that helps me. I get on it every day. But listen, cause I don't take anything. I I take a pill for heartburn every now and then. I don't take like I got friends. I'm taking this for my nerve pain, for this pain. Do you have pain, Chris? Yeah, yeah, every day. I have pain. I don't know what it is sometimes. I'm like, oh God, what's that today? What's going on? But I've just gotten to the point where I just I'm being honest. Like, I don't pay attention to it anymore. I don't. Like, it's like mind over matter. It really is. You live with it. Do my elbows hurt? Yeah. Do my hands hurt? Yes. That stuff does all the time. But I block it out. I'm like you. I work harder. Yeah, I just go work harder, keep doing what I normally do, keep working out, stay active. And honestly, it stuff works itself out. I mean, if I would have stopped at the first sign of that, the tendonitis in my elbow or things like, you know what I mean, the feelings I have in my shoulders, I mean, for years I've been having those complaints. Oh my God, my shoulders sometimes. Sometimes they do act up a little bit, but I'll tell you what makes it worse: stopping,
Yeah, it really
quit,
does.
quitting,
I
like
always,
dying.
I always make,
You can't.
I always make jokes about jujitsu because it's like everyone's always got nagging injuries, but
Right,
you take 2 weeks off to let your body get caught up, and it's almost like you hurt more.
right, right,
Your body just like starts chilling at
right.
trauma you really have. Because I mean, I do a lot of other stuff too. I do jiu-jitsu and a lot of other stuff, but still, like, it's like just keep pushing. Kind of seems like to be the
It has to be.
yeah,
Right,
and it helps you sleep. It helps me sleep at night. Just one, you know,
right,
to tire me out, but two, like just to know that like, hey, I did my best today. You know,
right,
it,
right.
let me ask you this: if Neuralink was successful, let's just say crazy 5 to 10 years down the line, they've been putting those devices in people.
In the
It's
brain, in a
it's
chip in the brain, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a wire or a chip that they put in the brain. And
Right,
for people who haven't heard this yet, you should look into it. I don't know. I want to hear other people's opinions, but evidently they got the first guy. They implanted in him. He's having a successful recovery. There's a video of him playing chess with his mind. Like he's looking at the computer screen, but he's moving the mouse around and he's also moving
right.
it around because I guess he enjoys chess. And then I haven't watched it yet because it just popped up today, but on my feed. But there's a video of him speaking for like 40 minutes, and he gives like a speech about it so far and how
Right.
he has a lot of excitement now that he has it, and he's the first human to have it. So say everything goes perfectly to plan, and it's awesome. Was that something you consider, or do you think that you're like pretty good with how you have it? Like you wouldn't fuck with it?
I don't know. I would have to really think about it when the time comes. If people are doing that and they're
Mm,
really having that much success and there's a high success rate, I'm sure it's risky, man. I mean, someone cutting into your head. I don't know if I want anyone to cut into anything on me anymore.
right.
I got a stack of rods in my back right now, 16 screws. I feel it back here like a 2x4 in my back. I say all the time. I don't know. I don't know. I'm happy. I'm happy for them. I'm happy with my life. I don't know. Would I give that a shot? Maybe. Maybe if there's a lot of success with it and it's around for a while, maybe I might take a stab at it when I get older. Maybe my mindset will change, and I mean, you do change as you get older, what you want out of life. Maybe I
Right.
might want to pursue it, but
It's an
because
interesting
I'm,
because there's no going.
what's
No,
that?
it's just an interesting thought because there's no going back. Like if you let them cut into your brain and put that in your brain,
Right,
there's no like
right,
being the bad idea. Like kind of like no,
right.
you've already kind of altered that. Like you've already kind of
Hmm.
gone in there and messed with it. Who knows what it did or if you have some sort of reaction to it. I don't know.
Yeah, what if you get worse? Because my buddies I got friends that are quads that live good lives too. You know, I'm a T6. I have full upper body. I'm able to get in pretty good shape. I can do pretty well.
Hmm.
And I got some of my buddies that are quads, and they're like, I get on their nerves. They're like, oh, I can't stand you. It's just a joke. You know what I mean? We joke
Right.
about it. They're like, I hate you. I hate you, paras. You can do so much more than we can, and we laugh about it. But I don't know. What if something screws up and you got more problems? So that's just in the back of my head too.
I got a buddy,
But
quad. Shout out to you, Daryl. Love you, dude. He's pretty amazing, man. That guy. Since I met him, he's just like he's a learner. He gets out of bed, gets in his chair. He kind of has his
right,
like he's like a computer genius, dude. That guy can make you a website or program you anything.
that's great.
Yeah.
You gotta have something to. You
So
gotta
it's
have something. You have something to jump out of bed for, man. You gotta have a passion for something. You have to.
the brain's a powerful tool.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. It is, no
The,
doubt.
you said in your video you took the hit for your kids. Is that what do you mean by that? Is that are you saying because you took the tree down before it would fall on them?
I think that's my ex. I think when I was, like I said, I was married at the time. I think she said that in the video, and we everything we all. I think what everything we always do. That's one thing about her and I. We're crazy about our kids. and we we were great co-parent. We co-parent great, and we crazy about our kids. So it's like, everything we do is for them all the time. And you know, she those look treacherous, those in the backyard, and I was always worried about when summer came, and I was saying like, I don't want them out there even near any of that stuff out there until I get it cleaned up. I got to get out there and get that cleaned up before. So that's kind of, I think, where that came from. I
Gotcha.
just wanted to get out there and get all that cleaned up so they could just, I grew up in the country like that, and we'd play in the woods all day and just lived a nice life like that when we were kids. And I wanted them to be able to, that's why we moved out there. And I'm like, I don't want none of them going, I don't want them going out there until I work on that stuff. So I think that's where she brought that up. But
You also said one step slower, you would have been dead. One step faster, you would have been free.
no doubt. Yeah. Where
That's
it hit me was, yeah,
so
just,
like. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, go ahead, bro.
Oh no, I'm just like it's just like I don't know why, but that stuck with me. It's just like you said, one step is like
Yeah.
a huge difference, and even not even just with what you dealt with, but it's kind of like I think a good metaphor for life. Like
Right.
sometimes if you're moving too fast, you could be going down a treacherous slope, and sometimes you could be moving so slow that you're stagnant. You're killing yourself.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, I mean I was when I took off. Yeah, I was. If I was one step slower, it would have hit me higher. Probably hit me in the head. Probably would have probably been devastating. It would have killed me instantly. But because I was where it did, I have the ability I have. It hit me where I did on my body. But yeah, if I was a step slower, then it wouldn't have been good.
see, I'm born and raised in Florida, so I don't have to deal with a lot of trees like that.
Right. Palm trees. That's what you got to deal with down
We've got alligators around here, boy.
there. Yeah, you do. Yep.
You ever go
Saw a
out?
handful of those.
That's,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
I'm teaching my 3-year-old now to stay away from lakes, dude. And PSA to everyone listening, man, I just want to get this because it was like almost like a holy shit moment. I've grown up here my whole life. I'm walking down the sidewalk a few years ago, and they're building this like little park off the side of the road. Like I'm on a highway, like a main road, and they're building this like little park, but all it was dirt. Like they leveled it, and then there's a little like tiny pond from like I don't know if it was from rainwater or if it was like water coming up from through the ground, because like Seminole Lake is right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
There's like at least an 8-foot alligator sunbathing.
Right.
I didn't even notice it. Like I'm walking by and I look over and I like it's almost like we looked at each other and that thing hopped in that pond. I would have let my dogs run through that pond and
I
play.
know.
I
I
wouldn't
know.
that it couldn't have been a much deeper than the alligator is big. Like I like it was small, small, and I just want people to know don't go near water.
Right.
Like just assume there's an alligator in everything now. So
Right. I know. I've
but
had my experiences down there with them too. I've had some
really,
run-ins. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I don't mess around either around some of them. There's a couple parks down there we go to. I ride bikes everywhere down there, down through Pinellas Trail, and uh, even we have some friends at their pool in the little pond right behind us, the lake right behind us, and they're big, man. They're like you said, 8-footers. They're big. I'm like,
I,
oh my gosh.
I just found out there's a trail I think in the Everglades where you can ride bikes down the trail, and they're just like alligators chilling all over the road and like on the side of the road and shit, and it's just like
Insane.
a normal everyday trail people ride bikes around. Oh my god, it's very now look, I'm not like deathly like scared of most animals. Like I've seen how many sharks swim through the beach. I've caught sharks and I've been around
Right.
gators. I've jet skied in Seminole Lake, but I don't necessarily trust like a bike ride by like if I'm passing by 10 of them, I've got to guess at least 1 in 10 are hungry. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Like not all them dudes could be getting a good meal, right? There's got to be some out there. So
That's hilarious.
uh,
Yeah.
we so yeah, I'm teaching like my daughters or my one that can wander around like, hey, I don't want you near water and stuff. Like be careful around it. Don't go playing in it. And I feel like that's like the biggest worry in Florida, really.
Right.
The
I
water.
don't worry about I don't worry about too much when I'm down there. I just come down and enjoy my time in the sun, man.
So,
Def-
like, if you got on the mats and got back to jujitsu, because you're going to, because you keep talking about it, and eventually you're gonna make yourself do it. What would be like the goal? Like, I mean, other than you've told me, I get a good workout. I get a good workout, and
right.
you've sent me videos, or you sent me the video of you and I think he's a black belt, right? You guys were like,
Yeah, yeah. Donnie Wilt, he's a black belt here up in Newcastle where I live. Under Salo.
yeah,
Salo and
that's bad.
Alexander.
Do
Yeah.
you think that like do you think is it in your? I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Do you think there's any will for you to find out like a style to where you could get into like some good flow rolling or like some good grappling, even though you know the beat.
Yeah, it's almost the same. Think of your mindset, and when you guys, all of us, when we first started training, like you evolve, you learn so much as you go, and you just start to flow into different things, right? You learn and pick up things, and your ability, you just your ability grows too. You get stronger, you get leaner, you just are able to do so much more. And I was like that when I was in the heat of it, when I was training years ago. And I just week after week, I kept hitting it hard. I was eating right. I was dropping weight. I mean, I was like in the best shape. And it just evolved. I just kept getting better. And now I have that mindset. It's that growth mindset with that. I know if you do something long enough and wrong enough, you get good at it. That's just the way it is. You always, I don't care what it is. I don't care how bad you stink at something. You can be terrible at it, but just keep doing it. You're going to get better at it. You're going to get better. You're going to learn more. And that's kind of what happened with me. Like first time I put a gi on and got back on the floor, I was like upset. I'm like, man, this sucks. I want to roll so bad. I'd love to, just get on the back, work with your legs, do some arm bars, do some omoplatas, just anything, just roll around and move it like your core and all that stuff. And I was frustrated as hell. I'm like, God, this sucks. But so I just started working out a little bit. Next thing you know, I would sit up and we would do some positioning like that, work some chokes, and then I could fall to my left side, fall to your right side. Yeah, you can get in some good sparring sessions like that and really gas yourself out. And when I'm training with these guys, I tell them, if we, I tell them like, dude, try to choke me out. I'm you know, giving them permission to push on me. Let's go. You know what I mean? Because when you're trying to survive, that's the best way to get your heart rate up.
Yeah,
That feeling when someone's smashing you, it's good. Like that's the best. That's the only way you get your heart rate up in a wheelchair,
yeah.
to get it up like that. And I don't know. I think you can. I know I can learn more because as I continued to do this, next thing you know, I was actually, I'll let someone mount me and just try to really just put some chokes on me. And then, the next thing I know, I'm able to mount somebody and get up and sit like that and get on them and try to work chokes like that. So there's room for it. I mean, there was even times where I can, just kind of move on the ground like that. I have some videos I have to show you. We can just learn to like put your hips out and turn to your side and push, and can kind of like just crawl right up the mat like that. So there's room to evolve with that. I've watched some guys that competed out in California or Pan Am's where you were. They have a disabled division.
Oh,
Some of these
really?
guys that, yeah, some of these guys though are a lot. They got their core. They're just like maybe T12s. I mean,
Like
they're low injuries.
and stuff, or like some
Yeah,
shit. But it would just be so cool, Chris, to like see watch that develop, like watch your system develop. Just be like,
right.
okay, this guy came on the mats, like he's got like an upper body to work with. But like you said, you put in your time and you just keep finding new shit. Like um
Always.
my buddy
Yep.
Mike, I don't think he was the big tall black dude there that when you no, I don't
I
think he
can't remember.
there's a guy
Mm-mm.
about the same height as my professor. His name's Mike McFarland. He was a tight end for the Texans and the Colts, and he actually got into a car accident. A car actually hit him. The car was going like down I-4. He got out of the car to check because he got like some girl ran in the back of him. he got out to look at his car, and a car swiped him. So he's got like metal like bars in his legs. His toes aren't like don't work.
Right.
Like they're kind of like rigor mortis curled.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing this on a
Yeah,
podcast or something.
he is like one of his arms is fused, like where the elbow is, so he can't bend his arm like and like wave. You know what I mean? It's stuck
Right.
straight almost, and he gets very frustrated, and understandably so. Like I'm not saying like you got no
Sure.
excuse, but
Right.
the double edged sword and the silver lining is like I'm like, dude, you just have to keep obtaining knowledge and concepts. It's not necessarily like I have to learn this armbar or a double X sweep or like a daily Hiva.
Right.
It's just like you have to keep rolling until you pick up concepts, and then you
Right.
use those concepts to build your own game. It just and he's a blue belt right now, and it feels like when you're a blue belt, it feels like everything. Like you got so much shit to learn, you got so much you have to do, so many expectations, and it's like eventually
Right.
points where you're like, man, I just enjoy coming here and I just do my best. But the double edged the silver lining about it is, dude, he's gonna have to develop his own game and system. And when he
Right.
finally gets to that point, no one's gonna be used to defending that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like it'd be very cool to like watch that develop. Like
It's, and I don't train ears not as much, I mean, when I saw you guys in there, it tugged on me to go in there, and I see when people rolling like that, and I'm like, God, I miss it so much. It was such a great time in my life. I always played team sports my whole life, so I never did anything like that. So in my 30s, I'm learning how to do this shit, and people I work with are telling me, I'm fighting at the Arnold too. I'm gonna go tear it up, and people are like, oh, dude, you're gonna get smashed. Those dudes are gonna kill you down there. And I'm like, no one's gonna kill me down there. Dude, I'm gonna whoop everyone's ass down. I'm getting ready for this shit. I worked hard for it too. I busted my ass for it. I lost like 40 pounds. I just kept developing and developing. I was like the best shape of my life, and it was great. You talk about for my job too at the jail. It was like anytime there was anything code or anything going on, I was like, I got this. I'll handle it all because I just and you know how you get when just even the low level jujitsu. You're ahead of how many people in society. You know what I mean? It
probably,
puts you in a different realm. You know what I'm talking about,
yeah,
and you can handle anybody, and you're calm. You know what to do. It just changed me, and I just got on a roll with it, and I got hot with it, and then. I mean, I fought like 4 times, and there was like 17 of us in that division. I was white belt. I just got started. I was three straight, and I blew through the first one, blew through my second one, blew through his third, and my my final match for the championship was this one kid. And I'm not gonna lie, man, I was up against somebody that was dude was dude was hard as hell. He was tough as nails, and like matched me. And we went in a triple overtime. And I'm not gonna lie, that was the first time in my life. You talk about you learn. There ain't no hiding from nothing there. Whether you studied, did your homework, and prepared.
yeah,
Right there. There's no hiding. Like I couldn't. I was like, I'm gonna lose this. I can't believe it. I didn't train hard enough. I feel like I didn't train hard enough. But dude, I trained so freaking hard. I lost so much weight for it and trimmed up. But that experience, I'm telling you, alone just was probably one of the most. It just changed my life forever that day. I was like, when I left there, and you know what I'm talking about
yeah,
when you go through
yeah,
that
yeah,
forever. We kind of got off sidetrack here, but I just was on that thought. I was driving home after that, and I felt like so accomplished to be able to go home. I got a gold medal from that, and I'm like,
nice,
a guy I was training with called me, and he's like, "Dude, this is the beginning. You need to keep going." And I just at that point I was like, felt like I'm good. I did this once. I'm done. Well, I quit going to the gym, and the guy trained with Johnny Razai, he called me. He's like, "Where you been? We're not done. We're just getting started." And Johnny trained with the Gracies. He trains with he's a black belt under Solo and Alexander too. And he's like, "You're just getting started. Let's go." And I got hurt like a week or a couple weeks after that. And the night I got hurt was the night I skipped class. Well, obviously, I was supposed to get my blue belt that night that I got hurt.
oh
They
shit,
ended up giving it to me after I came back, after my accident, after rehab, after I settled. they all called me to the gym. They said, we want to see you one night. Come down and see us at the gym. I'm like, I don't even want to go there. I was just pissed off. I don't want to go there. I don't. And he said, come down. We just want to see you. And everybody was there. Everybody in that school was all there. And they had a little thing for me. And I went rolling through the crowd, and they gave me my blue belt at that point. But
Fucking awesome. How'd that feel?
it felt good, but I was sad because I like wanted to be out on the floor. And I didn't even try at that point to get on the mat. I wasn't even thinking about that. It wasn't until like a few weeks after that, Johnny called me and he's like, what do you think? Let's get out on the mat a little bit. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. I was so afraid of hurting myself. My injury back there, I was kind of babying it. But no, I started suiting up, dude, sitting down. And then I was like, we can do this. Start rolling around, and then it just kind of went from there. But I don't know where we were I was on a roll there with that. I don't know what we were talking about, what got us into that, but
that's what podcasts are, bro.
Yeah, we just started. No, it was, that was
but yeah,
because it was a great experience, man. I just a high point in my life, that year throughout that with all this stuff. And I mean, but look at the tools it gave me for now in life. And even, when you're in a wheelchair like this, you can put on weight. If you get some bad habits for a minute, you eat a little bit too much, you drink a little bit too much, you get a little sloppy, you get out of weight. And I was there. I even gained a few years a pound. A few years ago, I was up to maybe 245, 250 again. I'm down to like 190 right now. So, that kind of taught me, it's all about the diet. Get the diet right, get your exercise right a little bit, and you can still tighten up and trim up. I mean, I can get myself down pretty thin right now. And when I'm thin like that and I get down on the mat, I can really move around too. I'm a little heavy right now, especially when I saw you guys down there. I was in the midst of a
having a good
spring break partying, bro. That's why my mom and I are down there getting carried away, eating and drinking a little bit. But no, it prepared me for this. It's actually, like I said, it made me stronger dealing with this stuff. You know what I mean?
And like he said, man, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
It is.
Who's to say that, like, I don't know, some sort of crazy thing will come out, or who's to say, what the future holds?
Right.
I'm sure
Right.
with you do, like I said earlier, you do more. I was trying not to repeat myself, but there's no other way to put it. You do more, in a wheelchair than most people do without one. Like, able, you know what I mean?
My mom says that all the time, but yeah, I do. But I'll tell you right now, that's
People,
why I win at this every day. That's why I win and feel the way I do every day. That's why I have a good attitude. That's why I'm healthy. Because I know if you go out, and do the hard things. The hard things you'll feel better after you do it. I don't
sure.
want to go out and work out sometimes. I go out in this weather here. I come back from Florida. I'm like, I was feeling good. I was biking 15 miles a day down there. I was killing it. I was feeling so good. I get home, freaking blizzard in my face, but I'm like, I'm not letting this feeling go away. So I know I have to go pay the price and put an hour in and go bust my ass out there. A blizzard hit me in the face. And my hands are freaking freezing. My face is freezing, but I'm pumping out. I'm gonna pump out for a half hour and hit it freaking hard, and because it sucks, but you have to do it because if I do that for that hour, then the rest of my day, to 23 hours in a day, you feel good. You know what I'm talking about. You eat clean and tight meals. You bust your ass. You get out there. You do the exercise. You get on the mat. Do the shit that sucks. Do that stuff because then you earn to feel good the rest of the day.
Yeah,
And
I felt
that's the truth. That's the truth. That's the hack. That's the secret. You just have to do it. Like you can read motivational posters all day. People like to read this they're like, how do you do it? I get up, I get pissed off and I just do it because I know I'll feel better after I do it. And guess what? No one's coming to save me. No one's ever coming to save you. You got to be your own hero, man. You do. That's the truth. They're like, I don't know how Chris does it. No, yeah. What do you mean? I just get up and I get pissed off and I do it. I just do it. That's where I get the strength for it. Is I get mad sometimes about my situation, and I'm like, I'm not going to lay here and get heavier and get sloppier and get and be miserable. and get depressed and fall into that world, which I always fall around those things sometimes. A lot of people do in a situation. I get up and fight back. Honest to God, that's my attitude.
And that's it, man. I mean, what's the alternative? Is you get content. You like my buddy always says, like, you can smoke cigarettes and watch Dr. Phil all day and
Right.
see how that helps your life.
It's
But
not. It's right. It's
or you
not going to.
that makes you uncomfortable, and then you know small little habits, even like just at the end of the day, like, and I gotta be honest, I fall off this habit a lot, but like a lot of times I try to think about three things in my day that like went right, or that I like, or that went in a step in the direction I want to go, or in a better direction. And I'm starting to kind of transfer that down to my like daughter, like, hey, what was the three best things about your day before she goes to bed, or when I first see her? Hey,
Right.
what were the three best things? Because I just want to instill that in them too. Like, hey, tell me about the three best parts of your day. Um,
Right.
yeah, just do shit that sucks.
There's a lot of scientific research on that. The people that do the hard things like that, it grows a part of your brain.
What is
And it what's that?
Jocko Willenick? He he says just all he says is good. Like someone bitches about something, he says good. Now you can learn how to fix. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or good.
Right. Right.
Now you can work a little bit harder. Good. Now you can
Right.
just set in. Like so, anything that's negative, he just says good, and then he just says the opportunity that negative thing gives you. Good.
Right.
How to get better, basically. But like
Right.
the
It's
scientific
just
is coming out. Like
yeah, I've listened to some stuff on that. On there's a I can't remember the exact name of it, but there's a part of your brain, anterior mid singular cortex, I believe. I can't remember something along the lines of that, and it actually grows. Like people who do those hard things, those hard tasks, it grows that part of your brain, and it actually studies have shown that those are the people who have a stronger will to live. When they die and they measure that part of the brain, like those people live longer. Those people live longer than people who don't have that part of their brain. People who don't push themselves, who don't work hard, who who just accept it for what it is, get overweight, get heavy, whatever happens to them, and you don't live a long life. But the other people that have that part of their brain, they push themselves. You have a strong will to live, to survive. I've always felt that in me. I always have like such a strong will to live, such a love life, and I've always felt like I've had that.
where do you think
You
that?
know, I would say my mom's like that too. My mom's. I always say my mom's stoic. My mom has raised five of us crazy kids. Still deals with everybody's shit all the time, and she does what she has to do every day of her life. She gets up and handles her business. And I'm like that. I know I get that from her too. But my dad's similar too. My father's has a strong will to live. My dad was a Vietnam vet. Did a
Oh,
couple tours in Vietnam. He was a Marine and combat guy, and he's a tough guy. He's always been. He worked in a detention center for almost 30 years. My dad was that guy that was they'd call him for everything because he was a big guy, just would handle things. And so I think a little mixture of both of them, just that's what I got out of it. But
example. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. That's what moves me. That's what drives me. I mean, I've learned a lot about myself after this accident and everything I've been through, and obviously, rolling in the jujitsu gym, learned even more about myself throughout those years.
Well, shit, man. I hope you get back to it. I mean, it seems like you're pretty happy and you're doing it. But it'd be cool to see you incorporate the gym back because it seems like you do have a passion for it. And
I
uh,
do.
I know definitely when you come here next year, you should bring your gi or
Yeah,
even no gi, whatever. I'm down for whatever.
yeah.
Gi's
I'll bring the gi.
that's even doing pans. I'm like, oh, it's gi. I have to be here at. I have to compete at 9.
Right, right, right.
Do this.
Yeah, I like the I've always preferred gi over no gi. I don't know. I like having that tool. Especially now I like having that tool and being able to use the gi again. I need something else. I just got my two arms here.
It's
But
good at slowing people down, which is like kind of like my anti, like that's like my kryptonite. It's when you could like start grabbing stuff and wrap me up. It really slows me down. I'm like, damn it,
right.
I want to maneuver, but
Right. Yeah, you seem like one of those guys. You probably seem like your hot spot's no gi. You can roll like that.
I
I
don't know.
don't know.
It used to go back and forth a lot. Like, oh, I like this better. But competition wise, I don't know why. I just tend to like the no gi better.
Right.
I get it, and it's kind of cool to add the gi in there, and then you got the element of like grabbing whatever you want, wrapping people up. But there are like, I think maybe even at brown belt level, I'm just noticing there is like, for once I feel like a pretty big difference,
Right.
especially after the tournament I just did. Like the dude was like grabbing my lapel and wrapping around my leg and trying to get my arms all tangled up. And
Right.
very hard.
Right.
I
Yeah.
spent most of the time trying to work some takedowns, but there's not much to work with because they can grab any part of you, so they can kind of just like grab your lapel or your arm, and it's hard to get a shot. You gotta like really set things up and try to muscle. And
Right.
I mean, I love it.
Um,
Wrong, but
because it's great. It's a great sport. I mean, I never knew anything like that existed till I rolled in that place 2009, 2010. Never knew anything like that existed.
is the people watching it, man, it's not as fun to watch unless you already know what's going on. And even then, some of the matches are just like brutal to try to sit through. But
Right.
and that's another thing about like gi that kind of bothers me is like it's a lot of opportunity to like stall,
Right.
get up a few points and then stall, stall, stall.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think as the sport grows, it's just going to start becoming more and more systems in it, and I think that like we're just at the very beginning of it. I think it's going to start turning into something. I really do.
I
It's grown
I think
so
it
much.
should be. Right. I think it should be. I think it's more. I would rather watch a good jiu-jitsu match anymore than a UFC fight. I don't even watch any UFC anymore. I don't know what it is with it anymore. I'm just not. I don't have interest in it anymore. But I mean, you ever? I mean, some of those guys in Worlds. I mean, like uh, like your professor down there and Sala and those guys competing. Oh my gosh, come on. I mean,
Worlds is
it's different.
cool. I'll tell you what. You know Mighty Mouse from the UFC.
No, don't.
Mighty
Don't.
Mouse. He was like the short black dude, long beard, bald. He was like a goat, man. He was like is it 135s or 125s, bro? Super, super athletic dude. Just a beast of a martial artist.
I think I do remember that name. Yeah. Now that
He
you
was,
say it.
and I watched him. He was on the same. He competed on the same mat I competed on. I watched that dude win his division at his weight, and then he entered in the absolute, and it's probably all over YouTube or yeah, YouTube and social media right now. But if you type in
I'll
Mighty
pull
Mouse,
it up.
he went
Hmm.
against 6'3", 255 pound guy, and Mighty Mouse is like 125, 135. He's small. Like
Right.
I was walking by him, walking around the event after I competed. He was done a little bit after I was, and I had another buddy going on another mat. So I'm like walking between mats to help my buddy, and him and I were just walking shoulder to shoulder. I'm like, oh shit, he's right. I'm like, he's got a and shit, and I'm just like, hey man.
Right.
I was like, hey man, good match. Like that was fucking awesome to watch. And he's like, thank. He's
Right.
super nice dude, but dude, just like watching him compete, it was like that was like really entertaining, really cool, really fun.
Yeah.
Just super athletic dude, and
That's
I
great.
think the athleticism is just gonna grow.
Oh, no doubt. I tell you what, just what made me think of this one time is they had a seminar. Well, they had a John G and I think Sala might have came in for it was at Razai's gym in Newcastle. They came in. I had some guys that were state troopers, guys I work with. I was introducing them to that, and some of those guys were like, "Hey, I'll come down there and throw those guys." I said, "Listen, I want you to come down, and I want to see you. And here's what we'll do. So Alexander, he's putting on his seminar, and there's 30 of us in the gym. Everybody gets a shot to roll with him, right?
Yep.
Everybody. A couple of my boys are there they're just getting started. They're white belts. They're all lined up. He mows through the whole 30. He'll play with you for a little bit, let you think like you're doing something, and then he'll smash you. One, you know how they do it. One, and eventually, let me get rid of him. Let me get rid of him. I remember my one buddy. He's a tough kid too. He goes, should I press him? I said, you can press him. You can do whatever you want. He's going to smash you and sit you down whenever he feels like it, because he's just getting started. He's like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. My buddy's tough too. He's a strong guy, but he handled him quick. And as soon as he started pressing him a little bit more, you know what I mean? Alexander was like, "Yeah, you're done. Let me get rid of you real quick." His gi was half ripped off and his belt was falling off. He was gassed. I said, "I told you he's gonna kick your ass." I mean, that's you guys don't think this stuff is real. I'm trying to tell you it's real. These guys know stuff. They know stuff that you don't.
Just fucking crazy because there really isn't like not much faking it. Like you can't.
No,
You can wear
no,
you can wear whatever color belt you want. This experience always shows.
no doubt,
But I
no
like it.
doubt.
Keep people real. I came from like an MMA background. A lot of people you can get egos and shit like that, but
No doubt, no
like
doubt, dude.
when it comes to jiu-jitsu, there's no faking it.
No, and I tell you what, the best thing that ever happened to me because I rolled in with an ego too in the beginning, because I was always I was a pretty tough guy. I mean, I can handle myself. Did I really know how to fight? No, really didn't know how to, but I was always, when I rolled in that gym my first few times and a couple smaller guys started putting it on me, I was hanging for a minute with me, and then they're like, here's smart ass. How you like this bow and arrow choke on you, and you're stuck in it. You're like, you can't get out of it. You're like, that I was glad people did that to me, because I learned to park my ego at the door when it comes to shit in life. You don't know everything, and it's good to be humble and walk into something, and don't be afraid to fail. I used to be afraid to fail, bro. Like
Oh,
that's the worst thing on earth.
that's an ego.
It's Yeah, that's a big problem. You'll never get anywhere in life. You got to be afraid to fail. Now that made me how I am now. I'm not afraid to fail at anything. I'll go try anything.
That's awesome.
Right.
You got to fail forward faster.
Fail forward faster. I always say, do something long enough and wrong enough. You get good at it. I mean, it
Long,
don't matter what it is.
you said that earlier. Long enough.
Yep. Yep. But I was afraid to fail, man. I was scared when I first competed. I was like, God, if I lose, what are people going to think of me? You know? Shit.
Dude, I could sense walking around pans, man. I'll say this before we wrap up for sure. But
Okay.
they because IBJJF is like one of those organizations. It's like for the people who don't know that stuff, the guys who aren't extreme jiu-jitsu enthusiasts that just like to support me or listen because they like the content. Pans is like, I don't know how you would put it, but it's like the standard. Like it's like the jiu-jitsu standard as far as like
Right.
belts. Like all black belts are almost registered. Well, not all black belts, but like if you register with IBJJF, it's almost like the standard database. So like therefore Pans is probably like the second biggest tournament in the state, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I've heard of
Pretty
both.
pretty big. Like you got Worlds, which Worlds is
Right.
probably the biggest. Like everyone wants to win Worlds, and I think Pans is like just right underneath of it.
Right.
I'm walking around, bro. I got up at 5 a.m. to drive to Orlando to be on the mat by 9:30 for I'd have to do I had to win 4 matches to get gold. I did not like the vibe. I mean, like everyone in there was just like trying to like stone cold killer face. Like I just
Right.
kept coach, like I'm walking around with him, my buddy, and I'm like, dude, like it's I get like people get nerves. I don't really get too I don't know. I feel like I got a handle on my nerves. I've dealt with like a lot of anxiety and nerves and
Right.
competing before that. I feel like I kind of got a handle on it. But like, dude, I don't know if it was just a shit ton of ego. Everyone's got to sit there with a stone cold killer face and not show any sign of weakness or any sign of fucking personality.
Right.
If everyone had to sit there and convince themselves that they're not friendly and they're here to win, and I don't know what it is, but like there was like no like I don't know, like I rolled up in that tournament like okay, I'm gonna come here. I'm
Hmm.
gonna do good, and I'm gonna get through this as far as I can, and I'm gonna challenge myself, and I'm gonna leave where I belong. I got nothing to lose. I'm a brand new brown belt. This is a big tournament. I don't really have anything to lose. All nothing but the gains.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, I'm fucking laughing. We're fucking with people on the scale that are trying to like weigh
I
themselves.
saw that in your videos.
See that on YouTube or do you see it on Instagram?
I saw it on Instagram. I said, "Look at this shit. That's hilarious." Yeah.
I gotta send you my YouTube account because I post on there too. But yeah, like we're just having a good time, bro. And everyone in there is just like even in the mats in the back to warm up. I'm like walking on those mats. Every inch of that fucking warm up mat is somebody sitting there. They're not even moving. They're just like sitting, staring at each other or
Yeah.
whoever walked by. And I'm like, dude, I do not like this vibe. Like I'm like, dude, it's like you're there. You're gonna do as good as you're gonna do. You've got whatever skills you've got. And I get some people have to sit there and tell themselves like, I'm the shit. I'm here to kill. I'm a killer,
Right.
killer. But it's like, man, like I like to go in relaxed, smiling. Like, all right,
That's experience. You got experience with that. You know what I mean? That's
yeah.
experience talking.
It just, it's just like I'm like, come on, we're brown belt and black belt levels today. Like, like you guys have already should have learned the lesson of like leaving the ego at the door. I hope so.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
This means more to them than it meant to me. I don't know, but
I, I mean, Pan is big. Pan Am's is game. That's big time too. I mean, that was I had my sights on that next after I got done with. I started out with that. I mean, with the Arnold Classic, and then we started talking more, and I was like, "Get out to California, man. You got to get with these guys and keep going." And I don't know. I could see that. But it, when you start and get in anything fresh and new, I mean, I don't know. You're trying to be focused, and you're not that I'm a stone cold killer and have to win. I don't. Over time, as you continue to keep doing that stuff, you develop more of a relaxed personality with it.
yeah,
I
man.
guess
I
more
just
enjoyable.
I just felt like personally, like I'm like, all right, I'm confident in my abilities. Like,
Right.
here, give myself a pep talk because I know I'm gonna work my ass off. I know my goal is to make less mistakes than the guy I'm going against. And
Right.
if I get caught, then the guy's probably fucking good. And
Right.
like
Right.
I can come back and I got like footage to study. I don't know. I mean, I end up having a wonky ass match anyway, like kind of controversial. Not holding it against my opponent because I gave respect. I had to come to with the terms in my head that he came there to win and he took the route he took to win. I would never do it, but that's the way he did it. But um,
It's all
besides,
good. Good experiences, man.
besides all that, you get nothing but experience out of it.
Right.
I just think that you I guess my point that I'm like kind of running around here is the same point as you. You just get so much more out of it when you just leave the ego at the door. And
Right.
because chances are, if you got that much of an ego, and I'm just assuming that's what most of these people had because it seemed to be like every person in there, and that's just where I came from. Let me know what you think. But like, I was just thinking, like, then you're gonna leave and get mad and make excuses
Right.
rather than leaving and being like, all right, let's go back to the lab and figure out what I did wrong.
Right. Get back to work and figure out what you did wrong. I mean, it's a different level to where you guys are at now too. I mean, you guys brown belts, black belts. It's a completely different world than when someone's just starting out. You know what I mean? If someone's starting out, their ability, their level of what they know, and obviously the ego at that point. Most people at that level, when you start, your ego is like you can't squash it out. You actually have to get your ass kicked to lose it. Like that's what has to happen. You got to get just beat down and get smashed by some people, and then you're like, okay, let me. Now I'm humble. Now I can start from here. Now I can actually learn and learn
Right.
to have fun. Learn to have fun while I'm doing it. Learn that people are better than me, and this is how I get good. Is I got to show up. I got to pay attention to these guys, and I got to have some respect for these guys because they know more than me,
Right.
and that's just a journey someone's got to go on. But
I just
eh,
I just know what level the brown belts are at. I got to go in there. I got to feel it. I
right,
think I went against is good. I honestly, watching the whole rest of the division, I think he personally was one of the most technical in my division. Like I after our match, I'm like, I think he's probably got the best chance to win. He didn't.
Wow.
Like I thought like you said, I just got like a cool experience out of. I got to see the level. Um, he he ended up getting that takedown when I was talking to the ref. I was confused. I thought the ref wanted me to retie my belt, so I'm like looking and trying to talk to the ref to see what he was saying. And he'd shot in a double leg and then put his knee on my belly, so that was like 4 points right there.
Right.
I wasn't even looking at him, which anyone listening at home, don't do that. Just keep don't make that mistake. But that's, I mean, I that was 4 points
Right.
and I lost by 3. So had I not made that mistake, I would have won. But there's
Right.
always when you walk out, there's always like coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Oh, you come. How about when you watch it again on video? You're like, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do this? That was stupid. Why didn't I do this? I
Yeah.
mean, like you maybe not as much at your level now, maybe, but me, like going back in the day when I was watching my videos from all my, I'm like, what am I? Why didn't I do this? Why did I do this? There's so many things you can do that you didn't do. It's
Why
just
I
your
said the way I always go. Like, what I mean? I
right,
picked the day to try something different. It is
right,
what it is, man. But it's fun, and it's like the whole theme of this episode, man. It's just kind of like pushing, getting uncomfortable, and just doing
right.
it and going home, and then you're proud of it. It doesn't matter.
No doubt. Get uncomfortable with it. That's the truth, man. You gotta just check the ego out, get uncomfortable, get beat down a little bit, give people respect who've been doing it for a while. They know what they're doing.
Well, hey,
All
I
right, dude.
got to kind of wrap this up. I mean, do you have any kind of crucial advice or anything you want to say to the listeners here?
I don't know, bro. We hit on everything, huh?
I
We
know
went through a lot of stuff.
I'll make a list, bro.
Although we could probably go, we could probably still keep going. We had
Uh,
some good conversations, but
how about this? Do
nah.
you think mental toughness is taught, or do you think you can build it?
I think it's you can grow on it, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely can grow on it. I tell you what, like I'm a big David Goggins fan. I read his book Can't Hurt Me, listened to a ton of podcasts with him, and I'll be honest, like I mean, I've always been pretty mentally tough, but he kind of took me to a whole nother level. Honest to God, just within myself, reflecting on I know his life and the problems he had, and his upbringing, and the things that pushed him, and I was like, man, I started listening to all this stuff. I'm like, this is how I think. And I was like, and he's using his past experiences, all these things just to push him to everything that's hard. And I don't know, I've grown off of stuff like that. They're just listening to things like that. It's made me just tougher.
So you think that mental toughness muscle is legit?
I think it's legit.
Kind of like what you mentioned earlier, as you
Hmm.
it's like something you can practice, getting uncomfortable and conquering challenges, and it just kind of builds. So you believe in all that.
I do. I believe you just gotta, if you keep pushing yourself further and further with things. I mean, look at some of the things he's done, some of the races he's run, his grueling 150-mile races, that go on for days and stuff like that. Anytime I do anything, I've never went that far with anything. I was looking into a bike ride that was 130 miles a couple weeks ago. It's across the whole state of Iowa. And I was telling my parents when I was down in Florida, I said, hey, would you guys do this with me? They're like, what does it cost? It's like called the Ragbri or something like that. And he's like, I heard of that race. We looked it up, and it goes on for like 7 days. You got to do like 60, 70 miles a day, and you stop in these cities. They're like, do you really want to do that? I'm like, I think so. It's like when you do stuff, after you do something, I haven't done anything. It's been some years, but the last one I did was that race for cancer. We did that 60 miles. I'm gonna tell you something. When you keep pushing yourself further and further like that, and you realize you can pull something like that off. I mean, it does. It just makes you harder, makes you a little tougher, gives you like that high, like you can do anything. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I don't know. Sometimes you gotta put yourself in situations like that.
Puts you
I
in
feel like I have to.
situations, huh?
Yeah, I feel like I need to. I just sometimes I feel like I got to do that to myself. I mean, I'm not saying to go out and get I don't know how crazy I'll get over the next few years, but I feel like I do want to do something right now again. I want to train for something and just get in good shape again, lose some weight. Definitely. It's good for you. Keep that spirit alive in you.
Well, reach out, man. Keep up. We'll
I
definitely
will.
be. I think, dude, it sounds like you're a great example for your kids. I'm sure it rubs off on them. I'm sure they get to see the resilience and the attitude. I'm sure it makes such a huge difference. So as tough as it might be, I think it's really just an awesome thing to see on the outside, and
I
it
appreciate it.
caught the vibe, man.
Cool. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you for letting me come on and bullshit with you for a little bit.
Anytime, dude. Reach out. Thanks for doing this, and I look forward to seeing you back on the mats and you telling me and showing me your system develop.
That's it. That's it. I'll
But you
talk to you soon.
have to do it.
Right.
All right, brother.
All right, brother. Talk to you later. Thanks.
I think the podcast is fucking sick. If you're listening to it and you're like, I don't know if I want to listen to the next episode of this podcast, you're probably a bitch ass. You need to listen to the next episode of this podcast and keep listening to it. Because my friends down here are trying to make shit happen. And we're going to make some shit happen.